Heavenly Father, thank you, O Lord, for bringing us here today, O Lord. Thank you again for your many blessings. Thank you for your grace, mercy, and favor. We know that you are all-powerful and all-knowing, O God, and we are just simple beings that are trying to get within your will and do your way. We ask that you will bring your blessings in your spirit into this city so that it may prosper like you have promised those who have followed Abraham. They know that if they are in your grace, that you will extend them yourself to them, that you will hold them in your bosom, and they will prosper. This we ask, O Lord, because we know that we can do all things through you, O God. And we ask you as we bring these people together in this meeting today that we will be able to bring forth some education, some information, and also some solution in progress, O God, so that the city can move forward and do the things that you desire to do. This we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So, first thing, I didn't know we was going to get these people out for dogs. It is nice to have everyone here. I would like for everyone to look at how far we've come first before we go into the subject matter. Because let's just say our first community solutions meetings had nothing to do with dogs. There were a lot of issues that had to be addressed, and believe you me, this was not one of them. So it's in sort of a kind of a way, in a very strange way. It's nice to be in a city that has progressed in such a way that now we're talking about these particular issues, but these particular issues are no less important. We get several things. First of all, there was a young lady, and I'll just go straight to it. There was a young woman who was attacked by some Rottweilers here in our community, and she lost her foot. Okay. She's not the only one, though, unfortunately. I, as an attorney, I think it was my second or my third case, was a dog bite case with a 6-year-old, and that 6-year-old lost this side of her face due to dog attacks. And these were what I considered then, called then, and I consider it now to be people issues. Okay? I don't even blame the dogs. These people issues in general. And so I'm hoping now we can all come together with some solutions to figure out how to address these issues. Now, as many of you have probably surmised, the vast majority of people who probably need to be here are not here. But as a city, we still have to rely on you to help us and to, by extension, help them so that we can come up with these solutions and figure out what we're going to do as far as this issue is concerned. We don't want to see anyone getting harmed or hurt. And for those, let me ask you, how many of you are pet owners, specifically dog owners in here? You kind of shout out your dog and shit. I don't know if you did. You're like, I don't have a dog now, but I do love dogs. I'm a rock guy myself. And but it's not fair to the dogs. It really isn't. Because believe me, if they can talk right now and they were gathered outside, they'd probably be saying to themselves, what are they talking about? And why are they talking about us? Because we didn't have anything to do with this. But we want to try to keep them safe. We fundamentally want to keep our residents safe, and we're going to need your help to do it. So, as a result, we have gathered, and we've been having some conversation before this, but we have the Cook County Animal Control Team right here. Forget your name, sir, but we'll get into the introductions. Buzz ambulance is here, Anti-Cruelty Society is here, of course, the Harvey Police Department. Laura, why is she's sitting up there? Why don't you?
Oh, I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, as well. And we'll get right into it. So let me toss this over to Chief, and then Chief Bennett, and then we can go on down.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Biggs of the Harvey Police Department. We're putting this together because we understood the sense of urgency that the city should have in regards to loose animals. The mayor specifically mentioned the incident that occurred, the tragic incident, where the young lady lost her foot. So I've been instructed by the mayor's office to make sure we find a solution. We know this has been an ongoing issue, and we're doing everything we can. That's why we brought all parties together to try to figure out a solution to one of the biggest issues that we see within the city as it pertains to these loose animals. So I would like to just introduce the different members that are here. We do have, as the mayor said, Cook County Animal Control. We also have Buzz Ambulance and Services through Laura Daly. We would like for them to maybe, if they could, touch on some of the efforts involved with when the ambulance arrives and what you should do if you are bit possibly by an animal, how you can reach out to their ambulatory services through 911 and some things that can be done on that end. Anti-Cruelty, they're an organization that comes into the city, helps us find the dogs. They literally will sit out here for hours with some of our trappers to try to recover some of these animals that are just out there roaming the streets. Then I would also like to introduce someone from my team that we've actually recently hired to deal with specifically animals, stray loose animals in our community. But I would like to start with Cook County Animal Control so we can speak maybe to what your role is here in the city as far as helping us with these animals.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Chief. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Mamadou Diakhaté. I'm going to spell it for everybody. M-A-M-A-D-O-U. Last name D-I-A-K-H-A-T-E. I'm a veterinarian by training, and I'm the current administrator for Cook County Animal and Rabies Control. So just giving you a little background about Cook County Animal Control and what do we do and how we do it. Our core mission actually is the prevention of rabies through legislation, education, training, and other steps. And one of those steps actually is just kind of trying to assist with these unwanted and stray dogs on the street of our communities. Having said that, I want to make sure that we all understand that Cook County Animal and Rabies Control have the ordinance, county ordinance, is the de facto animal control for unincorporated communities in the county. Unincorporated. However, we have a role to assist the incorporated area, and one of them, incorporated community and towns, and one of them is Harvey. Now the problem goes, and I'm glad to be here and on behalf of the county to be part of the solution. And I think that's why we're here, to make sure that we all put together our heads and find a solution with the stray dogs. Now, that being said, the problem that we're seeing in your community here is not specific only to your community. It's a problem that's all over the United States right now. Since the trend started before COVID and COVID amplified, that we have dog population, specifically dog population, going up in our community. And while dog population is going up, we have the feeling in the sense that owners' responsibilities is going down. It's a bad combination because when we have a community where, with or without legislation, owners don't take their responsibilities. We got overbreeding of animals, and we have people who have pets, don't know how many pets they have, don't have good fencing and all that. They don't contain their animals. Those animals end up being on the street, and then that's a bad combination to have, especially when the weather is nice, to have people on the street, those animals, we got kids, and the result would be many bites. Just in Harvey this year, I believe that, 2004, 2024 to this year, we already Cook County been called to handle 18 bags. You know, one from a big town might say that's not a lot because in Chicago we're talking about 1,000 bags, but then one bag is one too many because you have a victim, and most of the time, like that young lady, that's a single bag. So what the county do with an incorporated area, like I said, we have the factory of animal control. We get those called through the shift dispatcher to our own system. We'll go and remove the dog, or just do all the stuff like provide resource and service. Now for incorporated area, I'm gonna name Harvey, the policy, that's the what the ordinance tells us. Now we have our own policy, that allow us to be able to enforce the ordinance. So how the county intervene in our community, our incorporated community, is that we get a call for service. We call it a community service request. Basically, if a resident see a dog, a stray dog on the street, you have to reach out to your 311. I call it 311. I think I'm from Chicago, so that's 311. We call it to your dispatch, your police department, and then a service request is generated and come to us from your police department or your animal control. When it comes to the county will filter it and provide and weight the assistance needed and see what type of resources we have to offer and what type of assistance we have. Then we will reach out back to the police and provide that service. So basically that's how it goes with that. But I think we can keep doing that over and over and over, and I guess those who are lucky to live 100 years will be here again talk about the same exact thing. What we as a county want to see is not to change the rules, but as really to prevent the problem from happening. How do we prevent the problem from happening? I was very pleased to know that in Harvey you got a very good legislation. I mean, it's a great legislation. I basically almost like it better than even our own ordinance. But we need the participation and the understanding of the whole community to just go through this legislation and understand that, you got steps that if you got to take your responsibility, fix your fence, take care of your animals, know where they are, put them on leash all the time. Overbreeding is a no-no. We just cannot keep breeding animals thinking about, you can sell the puppies all the time because you just take one male and one female that you don't sell to just start over the whole cycle again. And stick together, work together. Then once we tackle that part of the problem, I think the population will be manageable. But until we do that, as the county, we are always willing and we are very ready to keep helping the community here as much as possible as we can. And I'm not sure how we will do it. If you guys have any questions, or I pass it along.
We're gonna hold up on questions, but I want to bring something to your attention that he said. Because this is why this is a people problem, and we really need your help. So he said, basically, in order for you, if you're having an issue with a dog, you have to call the police department. Now, the dog's outside right now, right? Okay? You gotta call the police department, and the police department has to reach out to Cook County and submit a community service request, correct?
That was a question.
All right? Y'all got me so far? All right. Then they have to receive the community service request. And then once they receive the community service request, then they reach back out to the Harvey Police Department. How fast y'all think that happened? Where do you think the dog is? So he gone, right? He or she is gone. Okay, so while there are, and it's not to say that this, first of all, and it's not to as I say, foo-foo on Cook County Animal Control, is to talk about how much of a part we have to play, okay? Because everything is not as automatic as we may think that it is. And sometimes we will call the Harvey Police Department thinking that, you know, it's this magic stuff, like, you know, how do the lights come on? Or we just flip the switch and it just happens. You know, we just call the police and it's just instantaneously fixed. That's not the case here. So this is why we're going to need everyone to help us participate and fix this problem.
If I may add something, I know that we, like the mayor said earlier, we started talking to each other prior to these meetings, and I do believe that there is a plan to have a community service officer from Harvey also who could be a big help and filter those calls, the one that the officer will be able to handle. And if otherwise, we always can help also, the county can help that officer. But we are willing to offer anything from training to resource, any type of resource to that officer.
But they ain't getting that dollar count. And that's the thing that's important to us. No offense, but bottom line is, I'm here to speak about the issue. We want the dog done. But the reason why you're here is because I want you to understand that we are making efforts and we are working with the partners we have. And we are going to do everything that we possibly can because we are committed to doing something. But you also have to understand as residents that there is only so much. And unless we have your support on this and you help with this, we'll be stuck with this problem. Okay?
Well, real quick, as the mayor and Cook County mentioned, this is a collaborative effort amongst community and the police department and city. Just so you guys know, the Cook County, the Harvey Police Department's dispatch center is no longer located in the city of Harvey. So when you call that non-emergency number, or if you call 911 dispatch, it's just transferred all the way out in Des Plaines. So when you do call 911, and you say that there's a loose animal, 9 out of 10 times the dog either has to be aggressive or will have to bitten someone to get before the Cook County to actually come out and even deal with the animal. So when you do call them, they're gonna have our police department fill out a community service request form. After they fill that form out, that form has to be faxed back over to Cook County. Once it's faxed back over to Cook County, they have to approve it, and then that process will begin. I would like to give 2 telephone numbers out to residents tonight if you do have an animal, if you do see an animal, but this is gonna route you to the Cook County Dispatch if that happens. The first telephone number, if you all are ready, is 847-635-1188. Again, that number is 847-635-1188, and that's Cook County 911 Dispatch. Another number that you can always call that I'm sure some are familiar with is 708-331-2131. Again, that's 708-331-2131, and that's the Harvey Police Department non-emergency 911 number, okay? So now we're gonna actually have, well, before we do that, just want to just give some statistics real quick. In January of 2025, the city of Harvey had 1 dog bite with a total of 78 calls for service in regards to loose animals. In the month of February, we had 39 loose animal complaints with no dog bites. In the month of March, we had a total of 95. Now, around that time is when we actually lost our animal control warden who was here, who had been here for about 15 years, Officer Lopez, that some may be familiar with. For the month of April, we had a total of, it went back down, we had a total of 39. No, I'm sorry. We had a total actually for the month of April of 95, so it went back up. So we do again know this is a problem. I actually want to introduce tonight, and I will, 2 of our new hirees that just came on board within the last month that are going to be dealing again with specifically animal control. And we have already submitted an application for a donation for an animal control vehicle, possibly 2, from Cook County Animal Control. But with that, I do want to now introduce Buzz Ambulatory Services, Laura Daly. I just want to say what she does as far as the emergency protocols and contact information if someone's bitten, someone's hurt. Laura.
Hello, I'm Laura Daly, I'm the Vice President of Bud's Ambulance. So I have a dog myself. He is very reactive to certain people and situations, which is why, I have him. I don't have children, he's not a fan of children. So I think I have a special place in my heart for dogs that are reactive or that, may be concerned about environments where you can't really put them in a situation that they're not gonna get along with everyone. It's what happens when those dogs get set free or they get out of the yard and now they're in the neighborhood. The biggest concern that we see is, if we get called to a dog bite, number one, we have to make sure that, my paramedics and EMTs are also safe. So PD has to get on scene first to secure the scene, make sure that the dog is nowhere in sight. If the dog is still on the loose, now that dog is posing another threat to somebody else in the community. County is a secondary, portion of the animal control. So county can come out when a dog is secured or when they're already in a location where they can then retrieve them and take them to a shelter. Harvey Police Department is initially, and I think that's where the biggest part of all this, I'm sure as many in the audience might understand, is Harvey might have to hold the dogs for a few days in order for the Anti-Cruelty Society or the county to come pick up the dog. Just because of room in the shelters. It's an overwhelming amount of dogs that are stray. I volunteer at South Suburban Humane Society. We see it all the time. There's not enough cages. I have to beg and plead sometimes, because I know some people in the audience do as well, to make sure you can get a dog to a shelter. County has been great. Mama, I know we never met in person, but we have had many communications. Your team has definitely helped out in a lot of times where there's just situations where dogs are on the loose. My ambulance crews will find dogs and they will call me and say, what do I do now? The dog's on the ambulance. I said, well, we can't have that. So we absolutely need to have you, get a dog to a safe space, but they're all dog lovers, so they all want that. They all feed the stray cats in our different sectors that we are in throughout Harvey. And the stray cats is another major issue that we have to fix, because I think there's a lot of feral cats that are out there and they just keep multiplying, and there's no stop. So I'm also curious to hear from the residents on anyone that's experiencing that situation. But when we do get dispatched to a dog bite, sometimes it's not bad. It might just be an Amazon driver that, had approached a dog and thought he was nice, and the guy kind of nipped at him or something a little bit, and, they usually sign a refusal and go along their way. But it's the major ones, as Chief Biddings had stated about, the lady who lost, her foot, and it was bit up pretty bad. Not every dog is aggressive, not every dog is friendly. I often say that, sometimes chihuahuas and the small dogs, you never know. I was in Dalton chasing down a dog the other day and I got bit on the finger by a chihuahua. He was scared. That's his right. He's trying to protect himself. But he was bleeding. We wanted to make sure he was safe. And luckily he had a rabies tag on and we were able to call the owner, and she was, he was gone for 5 minutes. To be honest, I think he just ran towards Willa's barbecue because it smelled really good. So he wanted to get out from under the fence, smart dog. But he was friendly and nice until, he realized that I was gonna now transfer him somewhere he was not a fan. I have gone after, I can't even count now, I think there's 13 in the since November, dogs, just myself, where I have worked with Cindy in the audience. We have climbed on top of roofs in Harvey to get dogs, and that had been hit by cars, and we just tried to find one of the dogs. We climbed on a roof to get the dog. Thankfully, all the dogs have now been adopted out. I think a lot of dogs that are strays that are in, whether they're protecting a yard, some of these auto car shops that they often have, dogs outside year round. When a dog gets out and they're not registered in Harvey, a lot of the owners are not gonna call in because they didn't register their dog, so now they're not gonna wanna come forward and admit that it is their dog, so now they just become strays and they go to a shelter. It's not fair to the dogs, it really isn't. But especially when you see a dog that isn't registered, that attacks a random person, and now that person's having to call 911 and literally fighting for their lives sometimes, that's exactly what we all want to avoid. We have responded to multiple dog bites in Harvey, absolutely. The dog's not always secured afterwards. I don't know when, and we don't have that option for follow-up either to find out if the dog was ever captured or not. So I think the goal of all this is to get everyone, to try to find some funding, especially for Harvey to have more animal control because they deserve it, the dogs deserve it, residents deserve it. And whatever those, the funding sources might be, I think it's gonna help drastically be able to have the dogs be held here for a few days and have some assistance with that until they can get to a shelter from there. But I think we have to be a lot more preventative on the back end too of how we assist with, really just people registering their dogs or getting their dogs, neutered or spayed. It's a big part of this too, is just not the overbreeding portion. So anything that, my company can do to help, we always will. I'm not shy in calling meetings, and he knows that, and I appreciate him for always stepping up, and whatever he can help, he absolutely does. I'm excited to hear that they have animal control officers. First mention of it to Mayor Clark, and he said, what do we have to do to fix it? Let's fix it. He was 100% on board, so Mayor, thank you for that. I think it's a good collaboration to even have this conversation. Most villages and cities don't have this conversation, so it's important that we do that. And if anyone ever sees anyone get bit by a dog, absolutely call 911. The worst that can happen is we respond, clean the wound, and they sign a refusal if it's nothing major. But life-threatening injuries can always show up later. You never really know. It's extremely important, especially if the dog does not have, its rabies shot or vaccines. I think that, often people are just normally too afraid to report things. If you see a neighbor's dog, or if you see a situation where your neighbor's neglecting a dog, or if you see anyone that you're driving by, call and report it. That's sort of how you prevent something from futuristically happening. So, and report aggressive dogs as well. That's an important part of this too. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's questions and comments as well tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Laura, she calls me at 2 o'clock in the morning. She actually tried to get me to go up on her if I wouldn't go. That she's always out there. She's a strong advocate. She's always in our community. I believe it was one day on 151st and Morgan Street. We sat out there for hours. I believe Director Harrison in the back, he was there. Some of my team was there. And it was to get some dogs that were trapped inside the yard in a vehicle. And she would not leave until we got those dogs out of there. And I believe after that they were adopted and they were well taken care of. So just want to say thank you for the times that you've come out in the past. Next up, we want to do
Chief, sorry, can I add into that real quick?
Yeah.
A point that he just mentioned is that one of the major reasons too is that in the state of Illinois we do have good laws, but the problem too is that dogs are considered property. So when we see a situation like Kit just mentioned, you can't always just go into the property. Even if that person that owns the property has back taxes or anything, you can't just go in there because now you're trespassing and it's considered theft then to take a dog. So that's a huge complication as well, and county did help us navigate that one. So thank you very much. I know that we couldn't have done that one without you, so thank you. Yeah.
So we also last have Anti-Cruelty Society here. Just want to speak on some of the available resources for dog care, rescue, and even adoption, and then just maybe a little bit of education in regards to that. Thank you.
My name is Emily Clem. I'm the Vice President of Operations for Anti-Cruelty, which is in downtown Chicago, where Chicago's oldest and now largest animal protection, animal welfare organization. We have a lot of resources that we offer to a lot of communities across Cook County and beyond. One of the things that we have been engaging with the most with the City of Harvey is our Humane Investigations team. We have a field services team, and they're state licensed humane investigators. So if there's suspicion of cruelty or neglect, abuse, they're licensed to come out and assess the situation. Like Laura shared, they can't walk into a fence, they can't walk into a house, their powers do not in any way supersede the police. So most often law enforcement has to be involved anyway. But just in the last year, we've responded to 56 calls in the city of Harvey, which is a 3-fold increase over the previous year. And what that number doesn't count is that we work directly with some residents and some people who care very deeply about Harvey, who might trap a dog, find a dog, bring it directly to us. Any of you that bring a dog directly to our shelter in Chicago. So that number doesn't reflect that. I wish I had better data to show just all of the numbers that we've been supporting Harvey with. But nonetheless, it is a pretty big number, relative to the other communities that we serve. We primarily focus on the city of Chicago, and the reason that we've been increasingly doing more in Harvey is because we care very deeply about all of the communities across Chicagoland, and we have definitely seen the need that exists here, and we've been trying to allocate more resources. So some of the things that we've done is we've provided the city with kennels, holding kennels, so that if a dog is safe to hold until Cook County can come and pick it up, there's a place that it can live. We've provided microchip scanners, so if a loose dog is microchipped, we can try to find the owner in Harvey. Those are things that we will always be able to support. We also have talked about doing microchipping clinics. We, here in Harvey, maybe partnering with South Suburban Humane Society, which is more local to the community, to be able to provide more resources to the residents. We have wellness fairs that occur all across Cook County. The closest ones that would be to Harvey would be in Roseland. We have them very frequently. It's free vaccines, free vet exams, free microchips. It's a great resource. We also offer pet food through our pop-up pet food pantries. A lot of the different resources that we offer are on our website. And then, as the chief mentioned, we have adoption services. So if you are looking for a pet that's already vaccinated, spayed, neutered, etc., we have a spay neuter clinic that offers low-cost spay neuter. So lots of resources that we can support the pet-loving population of the city. And we're totally open to more engagement ideas on how we can proactively look at the problems that are happening and work with the residents. Also, just personally, I'm a longtime resident of the South Suburbs, so I care very deeply about our communities and what's happening here. So we're looking forward to different ways that we can partner. We work very closely with Cook County as well, so I think that there are a lot of different avenues for support.
Thank you.
I have a question.
We're actually gonna open it up to questions shortly, okay?
Oh, but,
For specifically for her?
yes, I apologize for being late, but I don't apologize for my daughter calling me. But I had a situation like that. But I just want to know who you are and what information you have to let me know how I can help with this situation, because today I had a dog and he ate up the neighbors. He ate up their garbage. He tore the garbage over and he was hungry. But it was a dog that I never saw in my neighborhood. So how do I have information from you to report this? That's what I like I say, I came in late, I apologize, but I didn't get the beginning of your presentation.
Yeah, well, I'm only a very, very small part of this. But so a situation like that, so we handle much more neglect, abuse, things like that. So let me give you some examples. If there
Excuse
was
me, who is we? I don't know.
anti-cruelty.
Oh.
Can you make sure you need to fully?
Yeah, I did, like I said, I missed the,
Sure, okay,
beginning
I
of your
didn't catch
presentation.
that, I'm so sorry, ma'am. My
That's
name
okay.
is Evelyn Clem, I'm the Vice President of Operations for Anti-Cruelty, which is
Okay.
a shelter in downtown Chicago.
okay,
Yes. So our field services team, humane investigations team, mostly handles calls for abuse or neglect. So that would be, you see a dog that has a 2-foot chain and it's chained outside and it doesn't have access to food or water.
okay,
A loose dog running loose.
yeah,
So that's, I'm gonna tag in my friend Mamadou from Cook County, because that's more, what he spoke about was the loose dog situation and how to
Okay.
handle that.
okay.
So real quick, for the sake of time, I'm gonna see if you can be able to speak with her possibly after.
Yes,
We are gonna open
that's-
this up,
that's fine.
thank you, I appreciate it.
That's
We
fine.
are gonna open this up to question and answer session, but I do wanna let everyone know that I know most people think the police department will respond and to be able to capture the dogs, but the police department, police officers specifically, are not trained to handle aggressive or loose animals. I just wanna put that out. They're not, they can't take the dog and put them in the back of the squad car. It's not safe You know, we don't want our officers, we don't want to open up that liability for these officers to possibly get injured. That's why we've hired two people, like I mentioned before, that are going to classes that are specifically trained on how to handle loose, aggressive, or stray animals. So I just want to put that out there, because I know that's something that people say, well, the police department, now if there's a 911 call, or if there's a call to the non-emergency line, our officers will respond. But not all the time will they be able to apprehend or catch the animals. So I just wanted to explain that we will have trained, qualified personnel on staff to be able to handle dogs. The mayor's instructed my team to ensure that we have three different shifts, a 7 to 3, 3 to 11, and 11 to 7, where we have 24-hour coverage, so we can make sure that our team is there at all times, being able to make sure we monitor these loose and stray and aggressive animals. Real quick, I do want to introduce Auxiliary Officer Hawkins, as well as Auxiliary Officer Aguirre. They're new, they just started, and these are the two new officers that we started here as we proceed forward with this new program. Okay? So with that, I guess we're gonna let you know, open up to questions.
Before we get to that, but there's things that you have to consider as residents. And once again, I'm just gonna keep pushing for your support, because that is the real fix to this issue. Now, I'm gonna go into my usual speech, and my usual speech starts off with, who in the room knows how deep in debt the city of Harvey was when we took over in 2019? If you know, and somebody say the answer. $164 million in debt. But this is important to understand, because you want services. You want that Orland Park, Tillett Park, Homer Glen, Pierce Heights kind of service. You know? You know what I'm talking about? That's what you want. You want that service to make you feel good. I know where you're coming from. But they ain't got $164 million in debt. So at the end of the day, now, we could have, and fortunately, you know what, praise God, because he just will do all blessings and flow. Because for 6 years ago, we were dealing with 31 homicides. You know, a year, we were dealing with crime that kept going in this direction. Okay, but look at God. There's some things that we've done to help to offset the resources that we have to use. But we still have to use resources. And we want to keep it that way. So, because, not you of course, but because some people are not responsible with their animals, we have to hire 2 extra people to be able to handle that. That's 2 extra salaries.
Yeah.
Okay? You want to know how cities work. That's 2 extra health cares. That's 2 extra taking care of families. That's 2 extra pairs of shoes that's in the house. And this is what I mean, Jordans, probably. Because don't nobody want no croquettes. Okay?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we have to take those resources. But if we don't have the financial ability to be able to do so, then that's a problem. And then your expectation is, well, why isn't it done? So I'm committed to doing whatever it is that we have to do in order to try to handle that issue. But Smokey the Bear says forest fires, only you can stop forest fires. Only you can stop this issue. You have to spay and neuter your dogs, your animals, period. Microchip, so that we know. Get them registered. You know, make sure that they have their proper vaccinations. Those are the things, because we have like overpopulation issue. Well, that will help us a great deal. For those of you who are having these issues, and I know sometimes it's not always easiest to approach our neighbors, but approach them. Let them know, look, We gotta do something about this. Because at the end of the day, now, we're gonna make some changes. In my first, proposal, okay, I'm seeing, councilman. Oh, yeah, that was the councilman right there. What did that lady spend right there? Third ward alderwoman, all right. Is that you need to have insurance if you're gonna have pets. You need to have home insurance, or you need to have renters insurance, and those insurances need to cover you if you are going to have a pet. Because what happens is when we have those unfortunate circumstances where someone gets hurt, that woman who got hurt, besides the fact that we probably won't, have we ever found a dog? Anybody know?
No, found one.
One got found. But the simple fact is, what happens is, that woman is gonna need some help for the rest of her life. She's gonna have psychological issues, PTSD issues that she's gonna have to deal with. Or she's gonna have physical issues that she's going to have to deal with. And the problem is there's no insurance, there's nothing to take care of that. Okay, so she's going to figure out basically how to either do it on her own or through some type of government subsidy or something like that. And it's already hard enough to have to deal with the issue. But we have to start being responsible. And the first thing is, of course, to spay, neuter, vaccinate, you know what I'm saying, register and microchip your animal. But if by chance your animal gets out, if by chance something happens that is unfortunate, you should have insurance, or the person should have insurance to cover that particular animal. So that if something unfortunate should happen, we can be able to make sure that those are our people. Those are our residents, those are our neighbors, those are our friends that are getting into these situations.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that they're taken care of well as well. So, we'll try to stay on the agenda. So we are opening questions. Where's, I didn't see it, sorry.
So if you have questions, if you could write them down on an index card, that'd be great, and we'll come and pick them up. If you need one, just raise your hand.
It's by show of hands, have any of you in the room either had to deal with an animal bite or had a loved one or friend have to deal with one?
No. But I got.
Okay, we gonna keep to the rules now. We got these cards.
We didn't know bites.
Okay, all right. Because we want to make sure that we stay in order. I know they think, oh, Mr. Clark is mean because he tried to have a little order, but we want to try and do that. Okay. I love y'all so much. I call y'all my dogs. Y'all say, all you say, we don't want to talk about no dogs, Miss Clark. We want to talk about raccoon, possum, and cats, and all the rest of the stuff. We don't want to talk about the dogs. I swear to God, I love each and every one. Okay, we're going to get to the other ones, okay? I promise you. Today, you understand? Oh, Jesus. Okay, all right. So who is training your animal officers? Well, I know I'm not training them, but I'll let the chief explain how that goes because they are going to be professionally trained. But who is training your animal officers? When will they be active? Chief.
So the training is actually going to start next month in June. The the Cook County Animal Control is hosting free training for the officers, so we don't even have to pay for it, which is a good thing. So they'll be going, I believe, next month, and they'll be in the class for, I think, a week, and then they'll have a second class towards the end of July. So the end of June, so by July, we should be good to go. Our hope is that the vehicle that we apply for and submit the application for, they'll render a decision on who's gonna be able to get that vehicle by next month or no later than July. If not, we do have a vehicle that has been taken out of service, but it's been taken out of service to get some repairs done. And if we don't get that vehicle that we apply for, then we're gonna put that vehicle back in service so we can make sure our guys are out there ready to roll.
Y'all are great. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add that we will offer those training for free. The one we don't have available, we're willing to pay for them. And also, we will offer resources that the animal control officer need to do their job. Is all the tools they need, all the intensive training and basic knowledge. Because we understand animal control officer. Forget about 50 years ago. 50 years ago, I think many of us grew up calling them dog catcher. They're not dog catcher. They're very knowledgeable people who are sometimes more than even animal control officer. They're like a social worker at the same time. They're the one who listen to your problem while they're coming there to answer your call. They advise you on a lot of other things that sometimes has nothing to do with dogs. You know, so many people just need to talk while you handle the dog issue. So we'll give all those basic knowledge of, some are even scientific knowledge, because you gotta know the animals, you gotta know at least the breed. I know a lot of people here, I can show them 1,000 dogs, they call all the people. And that is not all the time true. But it's just not about dogs. We talk about feral cats, that did knowledge training, birds, alligator, yes. Might have some people having alligator, maybe some people right here, alligator in there, because they were cute when they were little, they get smuggled in our communities, until a problem happens, then animal control officer get the call. Animal control officer go testify, they need to go testify in court, just like any officer. They'll testify in court, they get cross interrogated by a lawyer. Who want to know their knowledge, will question even their integrity and push you against the wall. So we have all that. They write ticket not because they mean people, but because they want to prevent things from happening. It just involves so many, and it's not 8 hours work most of the time. It's a 24 hours work. So we'll be willing to give those training for free and pay for those that we don't have available.
Okay, I'll get to this last. A lot of these questions are repetitive, so first of all, someone says, so how do you register them? How do you register your animals? And what ordinances are in the city of Harvey regarding dogs and cats? So, first of all, you can come to City Hall to register. We are going to create and provide an electronic means for you to do so too, if you should choose to do so. But you can come to City Hall. You can ask for the clerk's office, because they do sell them through the clerk's office. But also, when it comes to animals, dogs, animals generally, we have a code. It's Title 6 of Chapter 6 of the City of Harvey Municipal Code. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with our municipal code, one way that you can go about seeing it is you can go to the clerk's office and actually ask to see it. Another way you can go about seeing it is our municipal codes are actually online. So whenever I want to see, online the City of Harvey municipal code, I type in my Google search bar, City of Harvey municipal code. And when I do so, the municipal code comes up. And specifically, we are dealing with Title VII of our code, where it gives you the instructions as far as registration of your pets, and all of the ordinance as it pertains to dogs and cats. But it not only pertains to dogs and cats, it also pertains to fowl, rabbits, other animals, noisy animals, animal carcasses. The use of traps, the return of traps, we don't have that anymore in deposit. That's just for animals generally. And then, if I can get this one to come up, of course it does, oh, there it is stuff. Sanitation, animals running at large, rabies, inoculation, biting animals, the registration of cats, tags, nuisance animals, harboring stray animals. And these are not, just so you understand, these are not new ordinances. Some of them have been enhanced or improved since we've been in office, but some of these ordinances go back to the 80s, and some of them go back as far as the 70s. So these are not new ordinances. But if you want to find out, more information on that, once again, you can look at the ordinances by typing in City of Harvey Municipal Code in Google, and you can see the code, because we keep all of our codes. Not just this code, but we keep all of our codes electronically. So if you have issues, questions, or concerns, you can also look up and find answers to those as well. Once again, you can come to the City of Harvey to register your pet. We are working on, we used to have an area, a registration called Pet Champs, but from my understanding, Pet Champs is no longer. They went out of business. What was the other one that we had as well for housing? You remember? Pro Champs. Yeah, so we had Pro Champs and Pet Champs is what we had. They since gone out of business, so we don't use them anymore. So you have to come to the clerk's office temporarily.
Can I ask you something? How do we prevent cats from invading our space? Because I'm just saying, it's somebody else's cat, but they come in and they might urinate in my dirt. You know what I'm saying? How do I prevent that? I gotta go online and check it out? I'm just saying, because it happens.
So, let me get the people who actually did cards, and then I'll get to that, okay? Okay?
Go
That be
ahead.
okay?
Yeah,
Let me get,
that's fine.
I'm still gonna get you. You know I ain't gonna forget about you now. Okay.
I feel that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Who to call when stray dogs are loose? I think the chief answered that question earlier. Call 911. But you already know the process, because we've gone through the process. So if we can handle the dog, we'll handle the dog. If we can't handle the dog because maybe the dog is aggressive or something of that nature, then it may require some additional assistance. But first thing, we don't have a 311. So you'll have to call 911 for that one. Or, what is it,
331-2131.
331-3121.
331-2131. And just real quick, I know they mentioned the kennels that are downstairs at the police department, which they donated to us. They aren't registered enough to come by and clean them for us, so our union personnel don't have to go down there and clean the kennels. But we only have 2. So we do take in strays if that is that 3-day wait period after the community service form has been filled out. But want to remind people that you have to have that form filled out. We don't just accept stray animals at the police department. We've had that happen lately, and we'll have trappers bring them in, but that form has to be completed, and there is a process. Yes,
You have to fill out the forms.
the police department.
Yeah,
yes.
so I last week came to your front desk with an injured dog that I secured, and I was told, no, we're not taking the dog, and no, we're not doing the CSR.
Okay,
And there's a
well,
sign on your window that says, we're not taking in dogs. So I had to take that dog all the way to Evanston,
wow.
to a Cook County Stray Holding Facility to meet a warden, to take that dog in.
Okay, well, I'll follow up with you after that,
Yeah,
that should be
please.
there, and we
Okay.
do have the cages, cause I've been called on Saturdays and Fridays.
Right.
By Anti-Cruelty when you drop them, Jessica?
This is Jennifer. has-
Jennifer?
Yeah,
Okay, I
Jennifer.
do remember
Yeah.
speaking to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is right here.
So it says here, how will the police department notify residents if a dog or cat is in their possession? If it's microchip, we'd have to, I believe, reach out through Anti-Cruelty so they can get the information. We haven't had that happen yet, so that would have to be a conversation with Cook County Anti-Cruelty on how we're supposed to find that out. We do have the microchips that were donated to us downstairs in our lockup. But is that a question you guys may know how that process works?
Yeah, so the microchip number tells us what company the microchip was through. We can then call that company and hopefully the information is current and registered. If it's not, we can do a little bit more digging to try to find out. But there's a lot that can be done to try to help people reunite with their pet beyond microchipping. The Ring next door, the Ring doorbell app has become a huge way. People post like missing my dog and we're able to reunite that way. So that would definitely be something we would love to work with Cook County and Harvey on developing a reunification program for pet owners.
That answer you that? Yes. Okay, great. Registration and down. Okay, before we go into the other parts, so we have been working on as much as we possibly can regarding the young lady whose foot amputated as a result of the attack. Sometimes it doesn't always work out where people are happy with the results, but one of the results of that attack is this meeting that we're having today. So we are trying to do something about it. If we were able to actually find the people responsible, that would be a whole nother thing. But we haven't been able to find the people who are responsible. And as I just asked people who are on this board, in this forum, this panel, we haven't been able to find the dog either. So we have between the Harvey Police Department, the Cook County Animal Control, and also Animal Cruelty, we haven't been able to find the dog. But this is once again, this is not only a start where we talk about what happened, but we also talk about what we want to look like in the future. And, you know, and how we want to try to prevent these types of things from happening. The unfortunate thing with this situation with the Rottweilers, from my understanding, there were some who were aware that the dogs had been out and about for quite some time. But there was no action taken. And we didn't find out about it until, of course, it was too late, so.
Well, actually, people were aware of that dog, both of those dogs. One is deceased, one is, I'm assuming, still at large. But one, it was at least a month that people had already known these dogs were out there. And we found out a month later and could have prevented had we known.
So, it's not that we're not doing anything. The simple fact is we are doing quite a bit. But this is the only thing that we have at this particular point in time. And we have to reach out to our citizens.
Mayor, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Donna Hill.
I know who you are.
Yes, I'm the sister.
I didn't want to put you out there.
No, I'm here.
Go ahead,
For that
okay.
reason. You know, Donna, nobody is speaking. Donna, I feel that my sister doesn't have a voice.
Has the police come and talk to her yet?
The detective interviewed my sister in ICU maybe 3 weeks ago. We have had absolutely no movement on this. These were two 100+ pound Rottweilers. Somebody in this community knows who owns these dogs. They're too large for someone not to know. But nobody knocked on doors. Nobody went door to door asking whose dogs these are. We are frustrated as a family because it's like Donna is just a nobody. My sister's whole foot was amputated. She has a heel and an ankle, and that is it. She has huge, she's gonna have 3 surgeries on the 28th, 3 skin grafts to try and put back some of the chunks that was taken out of her arms and to keep the slippage from the skin on her foot, so maybe she can get some type of prosthetic. My frustration and my frustration as a family is that my family was a lifelong Harvey resident. But it's like Donna has been forgotten. It's like, yeah, this woman who was mauled, this woman was mauled to the point where her lung collapsed and she almost died in the ICU. So she's more than just a dog bite victim. She is a tragedy that happened in the streets of Harvey. And no one has been able to find these dogs or these dogs' owners. And we just feel like, because nobody has actually went out and looked. I spoke with you. I had a meeting with you. I had a meeting with the police. Nothing has happened. I walked out of that door of your office, poof, nothing. We haven't been contacted. I have contacted that detective. He tells me nothing has been done. It is a problem. It is an issue. If you want to come together and say you have a problem, yeah, you do have a problem.
Okay.
But the problem not only has to be addressed, not only their solution has to be done, but you have to put in the work in order to, if there is issues, you have to put in the work in order to find out what actually happened. Who are these people? People know. The community knows, but the community wasn't even alerted that this happened. If it had happened to a child, the child would not have survived. Why wasn't there something put out on the Harvey website saying, hey, we had a dog bite. This woman was almost killed. Be on the lookout for this dog. You didn't even let your citizens know that it happened. That's a problem.
What area?
145th in between Center and Sangamon is when this happened. On the 15th of last month. Did you know anything about it? No. That's what I'm saying. The citizens were not even made aware, and this one dog is still loose.
Well, but the things you're saying are not necessarily true. Now, unfortunately, first of all, number one is, and I want everyone in this room to understand, because when I first started off this morning, I talked about the issue. I talked about how your sister would have to deal with some additional things. We want to try to get to the bottom of it and feel that we required to do something, responsibility to do something. I also talked about how the community can play its part as well, as far as that's concerned, because once again, we had some dogs that were out there that, for some odd reason, nobody knew who or where those dogs were. But we also had people to go out and go door to door. We had people to also canvass the areas to find out those things. Now, as I spoke to you at that particular point in time, which I wanted to make sure, and that has happened, at least from what I understand, your sister was spoken to, was talked to as well. But this is one of the issues that you get when you're dealing with these stray animals. That's the reason why we want the dogs to be registered. And the reason why we want them microchipped, and the reason why we want people to be more responsible owners, is because this doesn't happen. It's not that there's a lack of interest from the city of Harvey. I don't know who said it in here, but other communities aren't having these type of forums talking about how we can fix this situation. And according to Mountain it's a national issue. So, bites didn't only happen in Harvey. They're happening in other places, and those municipalities don't send out an ATB as far as the dogs are concerned. But we're here because we do care. I'm here having this conversation because I've not only seen it in my own practice, but you and I had a conversation, and I was trying to do what I thought I could to try to help the issue overall. I do understand the frustration, I really do. But the bottom line is we are trying to do something, and we're trying to do more. And we're going to continue to try to do more. But the one thing for sure is this is also a people problem. And it's unfortunate, but it just is. So we have to work together as a community to try to prevent this from happening in the future. You know, but I understand. And then there's certain things that I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know about the police department because I haven't specifically asked them the specific details. But, you know, my thing is, and like I told you, we have enough information from this situation to try to do the best we can to try to resolve the issue. And there has been all hands on deck. Am I right, Chief? The thing that I told you when I last saw you was that your sister's going to need healing. See, regardless of what the city of Harvey does or does not do, your sister needs healing. Okay? She needs prayer, she needs strength, she needs her family around her, and that's why I told you, okay, I got this. Because I wanted you to be able to focus on your sister.
Yeah.
Just left them to come here.
There you go. Okay? But if we can't find the dog, we still can't find the dog. That won't change, unfortunately, and I'm so sorry because I don't want to see it. But unfortunately, that won't change that situation. Now, what I am is I'm tired of seeing it. And I'm hoping that there's enough people in Harvey that's tired of seeing it. And maybe if we all come together to actually do something about it, we can prevent this from happening. Maybe.
That's more eyes and ears.
But it's not, it's not the city diminishing or negating what happened in this particular case. Like I said, once again, let's go back to that type of love y'all want. Did Orland have a meeting? Because they got dogs. Did Tinley have a meeting? They got them too. I had quite a few dog bites in my practice, and they all were not in Harvey. Okay? But we're taking the time to work together so we can figure it out, so we can figure out how we can get better as a community. And then, and I told you also, I didn't like the perception of the system. The perception that we got from some of the officers, remember? And that's something that we're working on as well. Because at the end of the day, she's still a part of our community. And we need to be wrapping our arms around her. But she's got to focus right now on the healing part. And that, unfortunately, is something that we can't do that work for her. And that's where she needs her family, that's where she needs her friends, that's where she needs the people around her.
And real quick, Mayor, if I may, I will follow up with you. I know you mentioned that you spoke with one or two of my detectives 3 weeks ago, and I know they have ongoing cases, and I don't know why they just didn't get back to you in a decent time frame. But I'll follow up with you after this, and then I'll reach out to them to see where they're at with this, because we know this is a serious issue, and she definitely is on our minds and in our thoughts and prayers. Okay?
Yeah.
I'll give you my card after before we leave.
And Chief, can I also speak to that, is that we are, so 911, every community, we're the 911 provider for 9 communities. We see dog bites absolutely in every community. Harvey is the only one that I know that is doing a forum to try to find a solution to the problem. Many of us who have, rescued a dog or have seen stray cats, we often all flock to the social media aspect to try to figure out whose dog it is. It's the number one, I think, advocating resource that we can all use, is whether it be the Ring app or the Neighbor app if you don't have the Ring cameras. Post on there saying that you saw a dog. We're looking for a Rottweiler, aggressive in nature. I mean, pointing out to people that there is, an animal on the loose that has caused, almost life-threatening injuries to someone. Absolutely, people are gonna look out for that. And when you put a bunch of people in the same kind of mindset of, let's either keep an eye out for this dog, let's report what we see, a neighbor's gonna know, they may have heard from a neighbor. If you're in line at a grocery store, they might mention that they know the owner of that dog. You never know who knows something. So it's just like any situation, whether it be, a crime, against a person or an animal, someone's gonna know something. So always speak up if you can. But there's many, different Facebook groups on there for just lost or found dogs, in the Harvey area, or even just the South Cook County or South Suburbs. And that's the best place that you can really, post about if you find a dog or if you lost a dog. Mayor Clark, if I could ask you, do many of your residents register dogs now, or do you find that it's a big hindrance for them to do so?
We have 4 registered dogs.
So I'll make this as part of, for Bud's ambulance, so we will put $500 towards any resident who wants to register a dog.
I think it's $25 or $50 to register, so it's not costly.
Right, so again, though, so anyone wants to if it's a cost situation, we'll put $500 towards registering dogs for the first people to sign up for it, so just to kind of put it out there.
Oh, you heard it.
Yeah,
You
so
heard it here.
go to the city, go register your dogs, please. Especially, it's not the owners who have the dogs that want their dogs back. Those are the ones that will go register because they want to get their dogs back. It's the ones who just, it's unfortunate, but.
It's
anything we can
irresponsible
help, we
owners.
will. Yeah.
We have, I think this is a good question. Are there any resources Harvey will offer? Somebody brought that up. Well, hold on, let me finish the question. You ready to jump on it, because I know you guys have the answer. But I want to make sure that people know the question. Are there any resources that Harvey will offer for getting chips, vaccines, spay neuter to community pets? I feel a lot of people in the neighborhood don't do it for cost reasons. Why not have low-cost events happen in Harvey every so often so people have no excuse for not doing it? The reason I mention this is because we, my family, try to help strays, but there is only so much we can do. We can't afford to get all the strays we help get vaccinated and spayed. I can understand that. And this week I had a stray dog come by. I called 911. These are the parts where I gotta raise my hand on. I called 911. 2 officers came by and didn't offer any help. They just suggested I let the dog go. I don't think that was very helpful. They could have helped with any resources for a phone number. Now, this ain't the first, this, so y'all know this ain't the first time I heard this. And we have to work, but that's a training issue. We have to work on our officers and how they respond to these particular cases. Unfortunately, look, everybody don't say welcome to Walgreens when you walk in Walgreens. Everybody don't say it, even though they're supposed to say it, right? So, and that's a training issue. Trying to teach people and continually reinforce in them what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So we are paying attention to that. But, and then I'll get to you, Marie, but the thing about it is, just so you know, prior to this event, and I'll let the chief speak on it first, and then we'll go down the line. Because we've had events. So go ahead, Chief.
So actually on June 11th, I know it's been 22, we did a large free vaccination and microchip Chicago Pet Health Fair in front of the police department, if I'm not mistaken, Deputy Chief Anderson. I think the number might have been 200 to 300 animals that came. People brought their animals, lined up down Dixie Highway when we did that event. So we have hosted other events. We are looking to do more. But it's about having the manpower, having the staff, and now, of course, having individuals in our team that are dedicated to help us deal with these type of issues. Now that we do, we can try to put on all those fairs or those different registration events so we can make sure people's animals are registered. But we did have one previously.
Thanks to South Suburban Human Society, yes. She used to be there. Our collaboration with South Suburban Human Society, she's a very fantastic, but resulted in two great programs. We have a free spay unit for dogs over 40 pounds, but also we have free adoption. The reason why I'm saying free adoption, I think I'm encouraging right now I know people love dogs and cats. You know, you'd be better off going to a well-restricted shelter. To get a dog or a cat that's fully vetted, spayed, neutered with all the vaccine, with a microchip, then going to a backyard breeding. You know, a backyard breeding. And that's my cousin who's breeding dogs, you know, at home. Selling a puppy that has no shots, no spay, neutered, nothing, is most likely to either die from parvo at one time in their life and hopefully not get rabies. And ultimately, being on the street and having Harvey, police, CSO, or good-willing people who are in chasing them to get them and just populate and overpopulate our shelter, which will result on a large amount of euthanized, and I don't know about it here, but here the dogs are being euthanized, put to sleep in the shelters, because that's the result of that. So I encourage everybody to go to the county website, Cook County, just type Cook County Animal Control. We have so many resources there. You can go to, when you get there, you can get the information. It's called a Powsom Pet program, Powsom, P-A-W-S-O-M-E, Pet, and it will offer those two programs. But Cook County, just go to Cook County Animal Control, and you'll see. And when you scroll down, you will see the program is right there with a nice banner. And it will tell you every step how to contact the South Suburban, and it will take your dog that's over 40 pounds to get a free spay neuter, and everything else that goes with vaccination, rabies, parvo, distemper, and also it will walk you through the adoption process if your desire is to get a free dog or cat. Yes, ma'am.
Can a resident take a found cat or dog to Anti-Cruelty directly on their own?
Oh, she had a question.
You got a question?
I just want to ask from him.
I can give her this person, but.
Is it an age to neuter the dog? Is it an age?
Yes.
What is the age?
3 months enough.
3 months.
Okay, because my dog was like 13 years. When I went to get her neutered, they said I do that.
13 years. I would probably advise you when you go there, the veterinarian, does the process there, right? The veterinarian can see the dog first to know, because 13 years you're getting to a branch of age where the dogs start getting older. And might have some underlying condition, but yes, that's, it's always, regardless of the age, it's always the veterinarian will make sure that the dog is apt to be spayed or neutered. Okay, and then besides that, we got a great program also that run every year from April to November. That's a free vaccine clinics. They run throughout the county. We offer in average 34 of them, and we take at each of them the first 100 dogs and sometimes with cats, and everything is free. So it's in our website, the county website. And everything is there with the location where if you miss a location that's around your area, just feel free to go to another area because it's open to all county residents.
And I'll just add, I just went to the website, and Saturday, June 7th, there's one in Jackson, and then Saturday, June 21st in Chicago Heights. So there's a couple of upcoming ones, free vaccines, free checks.
There's one in Robbins too. I don't know the date, but there's going to be one in Robbins.
Right. And I think, man, we talk about microchipping, and I think I'm gonna put on the spot the county people here, and I think we could afford to, we could offer a free microchip here in Harvey. Not just it will be a free microchip implement in your dog, we put the microchip and we explain you how to register it. And also we can scan dogs to make sure your dog has a microchip or not, and then you go from there. But the most important advice I could give to everyone here considering microchipping is just not to implement the microchip, is to register the microchip. Because it helps animal control officer and those, good with people willing to help to scan a beautiful dog with the only desire to take it back to the owner, to the United of the owner, to find that the owner did not register the microchip, and that dog will end up to the best in a shelter and get adopted out or transferred to somebody else, and to the worst case being euthanasia.
And Mayor, again, to the young lady in the back whose sister was mauled, a part of that microchipping process, one of those dogs was, I believe, killed by one of the officers. And had that dog been microchipped, you know, and RB had the animal control officer, they would have been able to check that dog, scan that dog. That's why this is important. They would have been able to scan that out and find out where that owner lived. We could have went there then, possibly. Versus now we don't know where the other one is, but we don't even think that dog was microchipped. So that's the importance of making sure that we're following through with this, and we will hold you to make sure we host that free event for the
Microchip and register.
Right.
microchip and
And
register.
register.
Right, and I know I talk a lot, but let me make sure that this is understood, right? When you get a stray dog in your community, that doesn't mean necessarily that the dog is from the community, because dogs do not know boundary. Dogs and cats do not know boundary, and dogs can go from Robbins, Phoenix, Blue Island, here, back and forth. Just like a dog that's in Robbins might be residing in here, just to throw that there. But the important thing about this forum is that the greatest thing to me, in my opinion, is that we have 2 community service officers. And we're gonna do, because the data, even the data we have with the county show that it makes a difference to have expertise ready to help and then call the county to assist. We got 2 great officers here, and we're gonna do everything in our power to help them be successful.
Yeah, and that's why we're here. But can a resident take a found cat or dog to anti-cruelty directly on their own?
Yes, right now, we are by appointment only. We are going to be opening back up more June 9th. We still ask that you make an appointment, just because it helps us forecast resources and space. All of that information is on our website, including a form that you can fill out for bringing in a pet, and that's anticruelty.org.
Is there a cost to drop the check the animal off?
Is there a cost to drop the animal?
No, I mean, we always ask for a donation that helps us care for pets, but there's no cost. And that actually, I'll add into, we are one of the only organizations in Cook County that offers basically no cost owner-requested euthanasia, end-of-life services for pets, which is a critical need. I don't know, we've had so many pet owners in the room. If you've recently had to privately euthanize a pet, when it was their time, it's extremely expensive, and sometimes that causes us to delay that decision and that last humane act that we can give to these pets that we love so much. And so then that causes some suffering for the pets. So we want to try to alleviate that. So we also do that by appointment. We ask for a $50 donation, but that is not a requirement. It's truly just something that we want to be able to help people with. So also spread the word on that and keep that in mind that that's something we can help with.
Do you alert the school district regarding lookout for stray dogs? School district, be alerted. Stray dogs are in our community. Maybe you didn't know, but now you know. Because when the dog comes, and I gave this example earlier, by the time we get to the point where maybe the dog, somebody can get to the dog is gone. You know, and we're not gonna cause mass panic. We're not trying to cause mass panic, you know, or shut down schools as if it's a bomb threat or something like that. You know, parents, know where your children are. Okay, that might be a good idea, but we don't alert the school district. I mean, if there was like a rabid animal, if this was Cujo or something like that, then maybe, I'm not too old to be talking about Cujo, am I? Everybody know Cujo? What y'all was the Stephen King movie about a Saint Bernard that got bit by a rabbit and got rabies and then started chasing the kid?
Yeah. You
Oh,
old.
my references, boy, are way off sometimes. You gotta read the room, and I totally misread the room on that. But, we really don't, we don't do that normally. If there is an emergency, mind you, if there's an emergency or an issue or something like that,
Yeah.
and there's a grave concern, of course we will.
Yeah.
But once again, this is where you're talking about resources and the ability to handle things. While we were out on a call dealing with, wait, I'll trade you one. I'll trade you a dog for domestic violence.
Oh, Lord.
So if you stop the domestic violence calls, start learning how to get along with your spouses or your family members, then we'll go ahead and we'll take the dog calls. Because you gotta take one or the other. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we get more domestic violence calls than ever.
Yeah.
That's where our police spend a good portion of their time. But then if we don't do it, and someone gets hurt, then we're having another meeting, and there's microphones in my face talking about, why didn't you ever take care of that woman who was, being abused by whomever it was? So we don't want to see that happen either.
Yeah.
So this is a prioritization of resources. And that's what you have to do when you live in a home where you don't have enough for everybody in the home.
Okay.
Y'all look at me like y'all don't know what I'm talking about, like y'all never been poor before.
You know it's already won.
I want hand-me-downs for how long, mother?
She don't want to talk about it.
Okay? Because he was poor.
She don't want to talk about
Not
it.
poor, poor.
Do what she had to do.
So when you're in a city where you only have so many resources, you have to consider those things. And that's why this is a community issue, because I know that the community can help.
Yeah.
And if you expect for the government to save you, see, y'all understand, it don't matter if I'm in office or not. Put me out tomorrow. You're not gonna fix this issue unless you get involved.
There you go. Yeah.
The issues that we have are people issues. And y'all look to the government. Can you give me some more porridge, please? No! You gotta start doing these things yourself. Now I see y'all. Got me on the dog one thing. Trump is sitting up here, I interviewed this morning. I interviewed this morning.
You going there?
Okay, no, because I'm sorry, y'all ain't with me. But it is my stage.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
Let me let her.
Excuse them.
Go ahead, what you got?
See? There you go. Come on.
Now we have a $70 million Payson Metro system that's supposed to be breaking ground in April.
Okay.
I don't know if any of you don't know about it, but if you don't know about it, now you know. Okay? We've been working on that since 2019. And Payson Metro decided to get together and create a unified transit station so that people who are on the Metro station, when they get off, they don't have to go across the street to get to the Pace station. And the people who are on the Pace bus, when they get off, when they need to get to the Metro, they don't have to go across the street to do that. Now, let me explain to you, because I explained it to, I don't know where Moni is, this morning. The Pace station, the Metro station was so bad on 154th Street that the floor of the elevator fell out. Oh, you know about that now? Okay, now in the meantime, they've rebuilt Homewood Station 3 times.
See? See?
So now it's our turn.
Okay.
And now they want to talk about money. And we don't have enough money. And you may not get the funding that you're supposed to get to build that station. Okay? This is resources. And so now what we gonna have to do? We want to figure out how to make it work if they decide that they're not going to fund this thing here. Now, some municipalities have enough money where when they decide to make those changes, they can fund some of those things themselves. But we don't have it, so we got to do it in another way, y'all. And so it doesn't matter whether I'm in office or not. Y'all not gonna break up $164 million worth of debt in 4 years. It ain't gonna happen. And if you can do it, send that person to me now so we can go ahead and take care of it. We're trying to do the best we can with the resources that we have. I just really need you guys to understand that. That means that if I can fix all the streets, they be fixed. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because this is associated with a question. Abandoned properties, overgrown trees, and bushes are havens for wildlife increase. They are now walking during broad daylight. But when I go to some of those people, and this was the question is, I understand this is for dogs, but raccoons and other wildlife are also of great concern for citizens. And this is real though, and I understand it. What control, if any, is in the words for the city. And then here comes the flip. The flip is, abandoned properties, overgrown trees and bushes are havens for wildlife increase. Okay, then get out there and cut down the dang old bushes then. Hire somebody to cut down the bushes. Oh, see, y'all got real quiet then. Because you called me out when I was 3rd Ward Alderman, and they used to call me out and talk about the possums that's going on in the house, and then I go over to the house, and standing right next to the house was a tree going right up to the bushes.
Yeah.
That was a sapling at one time.
Yeah.
Was a sapling at one time, but now it's a full-grown tree.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to figure out why you got raccoons and possums. Now this don't apply to everybody, of course. So please don't take it that way. But this is a people problem. These are things that we can do. You're right. Look, I got chainsaws. I got the little snippers. I don't do that kind of, I don't do it no more. It doesn't wear me out. So maybe want some of y'all out too, so I get it. But the bottom line is we can help each other.
Right. That's right.
That's my point. I hope y'all not missing the point. Is that we can help each other.
Yeah.
And then I talked the other day about tall grass and things like that. But I don't get nobody sending their grandchildren over to Public Works.
Yeah.
To get a job. The ones that want to get jobs in Public Works are 15-year-olds, and we can't hire them. So we can, I believe in you. You know what I'm about to do, right? Anybody? I believe in you.
Oh,
Lord. Now, they say your mayor ain't stupid and silly, but the bottom line is, I hope you get the point. These are things that we can work to fix, and we can work to fix these things together. And I know we're on current time. So what about other animals? First of all, chicken people. And I know I got some chicken people in the audience, or some are going to be watching. Chickens ain't allowed in harm y'all. And for those who have coyotes, they looking for chickens. On the real.
they want to eat too.
They want to eat too. They're looking for chickens. And we got folks with chickens. We got folks with coops. Now I want to read to you specifically what it says, so that you can understand. It is declared to be a nuisance, and it is unlawful for any person to suffer or permit any chicks, chickens, geese, ducks, turkeys, pigeons, doves, squabs, or similar fowls, or any hares, rabbits, owned or, I see ghosts. Anyway, owned or controlled by such person to run at large and to go upon the premises of any person of or to keep or maintain the same within 15 feet of the property line of any adjacent improved lot or parcel or within 50 feet of any dwelling other than that occupied by such person. So basically, what this basically says is, you need to live on a farm in order to have our houses too close. Okay? So you can't have chickens, cows, hares, and all the rest of that stuff. But the cow is nowhere. And they're looking for something to eat. Now as far as raccoons and and the animal, can you speak to that? Because look, I've had a raccoon problem, I've had a possum problem. I was told, and this may or may not be correct, and so that's why I'm going to the expert. I was told that, I couldn't do that thing to them. Yeah, that thing, yeah. Okay. I was told I couldn't kill them.
Do that thing.
So the only thing I could do was get rid of the food source. That's I had to try my best to get rid of the food source. I had to try my best to make sure that that of course my garbage can had a lid. Am I right when I'm saying this? Okay. That my garbage can had a lid, that lid stayed closed. You know what I'm saying? And even though some of them will eat through, I know we have the outliers. Okay? But if the vast majority of us were doing the same thing, God was control it because they won't. Y'all must not know me. Y'all from Harvey. I can give a good goddamn about a raccoon and a possum. On the real, but I don't know if Peter gonna see this and get mad at me. But if I could do something about it, I would. Y'all really don't know what we do. So we can't do it. So what do? You have to get rid of the food source and the water source. Am I correct?
That is correct.
And if you do that, they move on. But if you provide them food and water, or your neighbors are, or whatever it is, then they understand. So start one block at a time. Cats. Somebody says something about cats. I think that's almost next to the last one. These two really real quick. Same thing. You have to register your cats as well. It's also in the code that you have to register your cats. We have a lot of those, a lot of feral cats as well.
And for feral cats, I know we didn't touch too much on feral cats. If you have a feral cat issue, I think they can reach out to Chief, and Chief, you just contact us. We manage the feral cat ordinance, and we are lucky enough to know that Cook County is one of the rare counties in the United States that have a feral cat ordinance. We started it. So we organize those feral cat into colonies, managed by a caretaker under a sponsor. So if you have a feral cat issue, just reach out to the chief, we'll get that call and we go from there. Cook County will, assist with that.
And then as far as the person who got the two counties, I got you. And you know I do. All you have to do is let me know. So we'll get on that right away. And then, if there are no other dog questions or animal questions, I guess this is where we start to have fun. So, now, let us agree. We have company. Okay? But I want to make sure, because I got to get back to you. Your question may have been answered somewhere.
Yeah, I understand, and kind of, sort of, it will be resolved, because, and then I can't register no cat, because I ain't got none, but if somebody else's cat coming across my property, but I'm just gonna keep spraying the cat dog spray, and just, like, keep them from peeing up under my window. That's all I can do. Because, you know what I'm saying?
There is a home remedy for that.
What?
But I'm trying to remember that.
Let me know.
My people in Arkansas used to put it down around
Okay,
the
let
trail.
me know. Let me know.
Because And somebody just said coyote urine, yeah.
Oh,
Coyote urine, now, I'm not an expert on that, but I know that as far as possums, and some people say that this don't work, but I'm gonna live no with it. That ammonia, for some odd reason, they don't like that ammonia.
can I just do regular ammonia?
Don't say what?
Can I do regular ammonia? That's
Yeah.
not enough?
Yeah, and so depending on,
Okay.
now, look, and I have to put in some caveats and some waivers here. Okay, the results may vary. But I got a bottle, speaking of this though, the little quart bottle that, comes in and comes in.
But I'm just saying.
And then I whipped it, at the top. So I took a rag and stuck it down like you would whip on a candle or wax or something like that.
Okay.
And so the fragrance climbed up the wick and it stayed in the area.
Okay.
And it helped.
Well,
Now maybe it was false cause, but
I'll try
it
that.
sure didn't work for me, so.
I haven't tested these myself, but I had to Google it for someone who's also having a feral cat problem in their yard, and coffee grounds and citrus.
Okay.
Most cats, they
Yeah.
just don't like, cats do not.
They don't like
it's
coffee
just
grounds?
Coffee grounds and citrus.
Oh, I'm a coffee ground drinker. I like coffee.
I have some people saying yes, so maybe that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's crazy because, they play with the possums, right?
Yeah.
I thought the possum was gonna eat it. I got promoted in the video. I thought the possum was gonna mess that cat up. They was out there playing with the cat. In the middle of the night.
Okay. Well, yeah, I just wanna, yeah.
We wanna go to some other questions.
Okay, I'm good.
So I'm gonna take the other questions, but once again, just please keep in mind, because the first thing folks gonna say is, oh, Clark is so mean, because he don't want nobody to clap, he don't want nobody to say nothing, he don't want nothing. All I want is order and civility. So just please keep in mind that we got guests here. Now, we can fight amongst ourselves. We are more than welcome to do so. And y'all can always come to meet the mayor every Friday from 12 to 3, and we can hash it out in that office. Okay, just please, just understand. So, because we have about 16 minutes left, I had one. Okay, this actually goes to it. My neighbor throws garbage over their back fence into the alley. The alley is a collection of doors, looks like wood, furniture, trash, who cleans it? We need the address, because if whomever it is after we're done, if you're still here, give us the address and we'll go through that. But once again, that really is a community issue. That's a people issue. Okay? But we can deal with that. Is meeting about dog control only? Technically, yes. That's why when we advertised it and when we put out, when I made the robocall the other day, and everything else we did, when we advertised the community solutions meeting, we said that it was about, it was about animals. So that doesn't necessarily mean dogs specifically, but an example. But if by chance someone has a question outside of the dog, cat, animal realm, we got 15 minutes left.
Yeah, that's it. You messed up turned the garbage can over. That's it.
I was about to say, come on now.
Certain places.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a home dog. When he was home, that one was home. He's skinny. Yeah, when he ate.
Well, they're currently in field training, so I believe they completed, Sergeant Patterson, do you know, when you're there, Chief Anderson, do you know when that field training is completed?
Their chief has it here?
Yeah.
Oh,
The middle of July, so there's a 14-week field training program they have to go through before they can hit the streets by themselves, so they're going through that. My hope is that by then we might have some more vehicles in our fleet to be able to have enough for everyone. And then, not to mention, we just brought in 2 more officers here, auxiliary, that are going to deal with strictly animals, so they'll need that vehicle.
we need some more resources for animal control. If we bring in more animal control, we need to have all the tools for the people who are engaged. But we're committed to it. We had one. We had only had one. And then for 15 years, yeah. There was only, I don't understand why we only had one now, so I can't speak on that, because I didn't hire this person 15 years ago. But my question was, okay, so if this person works from 9 to 5, what happens at 6 o'clock? The dogs don't stop at 6 o'clock.
Okay. They hungry.
So, yeah, come on, they've been working all day. So we are doing something, you know, about that to try to help and fix that, as well.
Okay.
Well,
Just for everybody to know, the county worker over 24 hours, so we got an after hours emergency call for priority calls, those like injury, hit by a car, dangerous issues, temperature attack, and all that. And those, but they're gonna call on sheriff, right? So I'll get the information, then we can share with everybody. Those like after hours run from 4:30 to 7:30 in the morning.
so there's an animal, because this question has come to me actually quite a bit, and I didn't think about this now. Animals hit by a car, animals in the street. That's a biohazard. But who picks that animal?
Me?
Well, because public works, really already don't know public works in the
Yeah.
See what?
I said, that's usually when I drive by and show up, and a dog usually appears in front of me, so. But, no, it's a hazard.
No, deceased animals.
Yeah, oh, disease.
Yes, deceased animals.
So usually with, I know that historically with other communities and that I deal with, even Chicago, is public works.
Okay.
So, right.
Look, no. Now we'll go with the animal. That's not an issue, and look, and just so y'all know, y'all got good Public Works Department. Okay, and I don't care what nobody says. Because when you got 6 inches of snow, your snow is clear, and everybody else around you still got snow on the ground. I'm telling you. So, you know, maybe I don't know what be going on, but we got really good public works. And they're willing to do it, but I need to make sure that we're doing it and we're doing it properly.
Okay.
Because it's still a biohazard. You know, and so we have to make sure we have the proper, so I'll look in on that.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
I got a granddog, but does she have to be registered here and there, or is one registration sufficient?
Where does the owner live?
Normal.
Harvey?
Normal, but I be granddogging. I mean, you know, I be babysitting my granddog.
Yeah,
So when she's here, do I have to register here? Or what? I don't know.
I'm assuming that,
One
you know,
registration is sufficient?
well, one is yes,
Okay.
because the owner is the
Yeah.
contact. But two, I just can't believe that you're an irresponsible,
No.
granddaughter.
No, but she might see that man and jump over the fence. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, is it okay just to be registered in one location?
Yes.
Okay.
But the fact that you're bringing up that question,
Yeah, because I be watching my
it
granddog.
shows a level of responsibility that is not necessarily, you know, exuded throughout the entire community.
Okay, well, I'm
You
just,
know, so thank you.
yeah,
You know,
okay.
and thank you for having a granddaughter too. That's good.
And go. I'll show you a picture when I get through.
I have a question, and I hope it don't sound like, unintelligent. Okay.
No.
I have my dog, have their shots, okay? So to have them have all their shots, and it's in the record of the hospital, like, of the clinic. Do I still have to come down and have them registered, so if the police are pulled over and I had their tag, would they not be registered?
If you had it,
I got their shots, I always get their shots, I always
Okay.
get their tags.
Take a picture.
Okay, so do I still have to come down to the city, even though it shows that they have all their shots, to have them registered?
yes.
Take a
Yes,
picture.
absolutely.
Put it in your phone.
Yeah, and so that's, once again, that's in our code too. So it is a requirement that the dogs be, have their vaccinations, but you still have to register the animal with the city.
Coco.
That goes for your dog safety as well. If your dog should get out, if your dog should get out of the yard and it gets lost, that's the best way to return it, is the city will have
That's
it
what
on
I'm
file
saying,
showing
I'm
that
trying
it's your dog.
to get all that situated and stuff.
She should just register the normal if that's what she
But see, yeah,
Well,
down there, but.
y'all, well, let me know when the meeting's early. Yeah, I ain't got
Hope
nothing else to
you
do.
me and ain't got a weekend.
Well,
One, maybe once, maybe twice
oh,
a
we got
month.
one more, go ahead.
My Coco. That's pretty.
Hey, can we just, so we can hear?
No, you say when there are stray dogs, because the reason I came here, because in the neighborhood, there are dogs running loose. And like my neighbors, they are always coming to me for answers to questions. So you say when there are stray dogs, you can call 911.
Yes.
Or 708.
331-2131.
Okay.
Oh, you know.
331-2121.
Hold on.
Regarding the pet licensing, Harvey, are you issuing tags?
Yes,
So they're only as good as if the residents have the tags on their pets.
right. Yes, so not only do you have to, thank you. Yeah, you have to register the dog or the animal. But then you have to get a collar and put the tag on the animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying that it's,
Yeah.
just saying that it's registered, but it doesn't have a tag, it's still of no value.
And something that's always been good is to take a picture of that tag too, on the dog's collar.
But if you're microchipping, that helps us a great deal as well.
Outside of that 331-2131, that other number that you can have is again 847-635-1188.
Some people have been down, but if y'all don't mind, first of all, I just want to thank y'all so much for coming. It really does, it warms my heart. I don't know, I understand that some of you don't even have this issue and y'all may say to yourself, oh, why should I be here? But you are a part of the community, and we are trying to get better. And no matter how much the world tries to look at us with a jaundiced eye, we are showing them differently. So that's number one. Two, if you be so kind and give a round of applause for our guests. And for the help that they provide us daily. And then finally, before we go, because I honestly believe that our prayer was answered, and in our prayer being answered, I think we need to go and give thanks. So if you would allow me to take us out of this meeting as we came in this meeting through prayer, that would be absolutely great. Everybody here, tell me, Father. We just come to you saying, thank you, Lord. Because when we come to you, you allow us to come to the throne. You hear us, oh Lord. You take our burdens on. And we know that if we put them at the feet of the throne, that you will see them, you will hear them, and you will answer, oh God. We came to you before this meeting started, and we asked you to bring your spirit here, Lord, and to bless this meeting and to give us not only an ability to address the problem, but to try to come with solutions. And we praise you and glorify you, Lord God. We magnify your name because we know that through you, only this has happened. And we thank you so much. And we ask that as we leave, you will provide traveling grace for the people who are leaving. And that you will continue to guide us and guard us throughout the week. Satan is something else. But he is not enough that you will want. He cannot compare. And so we just come to you ever grateful. Just lifting you up. Knowing that there is no weapon that can come against us when we are with you. Thank you so much, Lord, for everything that you do. And we ask this in your son,